Well, I think what we're going to start off with here is we're going to dip a rig. So, Zach, do you want to explain to Mr. Smith what we're doing?
All right, wait a minute. Dip a rig.
Yeah.
We're dipping a rig. So the title of the show is Dipped in Tone.
I got that. Dipped in glass, dipped in tone. I like that.
Well, should we explain the origin of the title first or just move past it?
So Rhett and I, for those that don't know, too, we always found the saying, well, I'll be dipped in shit really funny. And
it's still funny.
You ever
it's
heard
hilarious.
that?
Yeah, of course I've heard it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when all this started, we were invading each other's live streams. I was doing the Mythos Pedals live stream. Rhett was doing his live streams. And we thought we should turn this into a show and like, what should we call it? And the obvious choice for both of us was Dipped in Tone.
Yeah, okay,
So,
I got it.
But dipping a rig is something we started where the listeners of the show, the patrons, people who support us on Patreon, will send photos of their guitar rig, and we'll dissect it, talk about it, see what we like, what we don't like, what we change, and just have a little conversation and involve the community. So
you're going to show me a rig, and I'm going to have to talk about what I like and what I don't like about the rig.
Yes.
But I am reticent to do the don't part. But let's go. Let's just
Well, no, here's the thing. So these are all willing participants who, they know that by providing their rigs to be dipped, that they're going to get an honest take of what we like and we don't
Let's
like.
go.
At
Let's
the
go.
end,
They want
you're going to give
honesty.
a rating. You're going to get a rating out of 10, and that rating is in the unit of Shoyles, which we'll get to in a minute. So let's see the
All
rig.
right. Oh, here we go.
boom. There it is.
Nice. Okay, cool.
What model boogie is that?
That is the Fillmore 25. So I can pull it up here so we can.
Is that a new model?
It's fairly new.
Yeah.
So here, let me break down this rig. So this is from John Carley, and we'll do the guitars first. He's got a US Strat. It's been modified a little bit. He's got a PRS S2 McCarty. It says 594 thin line. An Epiphone 1966 Century reissue. The amp is a Mesa Boogie Fillmore 25 with a stock Celestion Mesa cab. And then his board, he's got a variety of stuff. He's got a really wacky fuzz that is based on a Devi Ever circuit. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Just a madness circuit. He's got a Mythos Golden Fleece. He's got a Polytune, the Timmy V3, the 1981 DRV, an Electric Mistress flanger, Voodoo Lab Microvibe, an arpeggiating delay, a Walrus reverb, and then a T-Rex replicator tape echo. So that's his setup. And he says he's just a hobbyist who occasionally jams with friends. And so this is his setup for that.
That's a hell of a rig for someone just occasionally jamming with friends.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so let's start with the guitars. The Epiphone is cool. I don't think we've seen this model yet on the show, and this is similar to what doesn't James Bay play something like that or something similar to that? I think a vintage one.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, so it's a thin, semi-hollow design. Well, I guess
you said that's a
hollow.
reissue. That's not an original single pickup ES330, right?
No, that's a newer reissue of the old Century model. But then he's got this Strat that he's modded. It's got just a Texas special neck and then a Fat Cat P90 with one volume and tone. So he's pretty much de-stratified it.
That's pretty sick.
Very cool.
That's pretty sick.
What do you mean by de-stratify? It's a Strat.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. I mean,
What do you mean by de-stratify?
Well, it's taken.
I think he's
gone-
made good decisions, and that your de-stratify comment might not be the good decision. I like it. Look, for somebody who's doing what you said, that's a well thought through, heartfelt, can get a tone out of it rig. Period.
Yeah. Well, and I like that. It seems that the PRS. This is the 594 thin line S2, right? That seems to be the center point of the rig. So that is the one guitar to do everything, and then he's got two different sort of tangential guitars that do two completely different things. I think this is a pretty well-rounded guitar setup here.
I think so too. I mean,
a lot of tones.
I want to give him a hard time, but I can't.
Okay.
I mean, look, this isn't just a jamming rig. You could record with this rig.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you put the cabinet downstairs on a long cable, with a SM7 like we're talking into on it, it'd be sound. You could use this as a recording rig. How many of the pedals I would have left plugged in, or whether I would have just gone through one or two of them and disconnected the other ones, that's different. But I'll bet you there's something close to a vintage 30 in the cabinet, and this thing will do its job. I mean, in my world, we say things like "next." I mean, it's just a good rig. There's not a bad decision here, based on what you've said. Now, if this was Carlos's rig, I would wonder how his original Mark I sounded compared to that. And I want to know whether he was using the Altec speaker that he's been famous for. Did he switch to EV? And did he get the new Carlos Santana pickups in the PRS? Or how long cables he using? Is he going wireless? All that stuff. But that's not what the goal of this rig is. The goal of this rig is to have a good time. And I give him a 10. He wins.
Okay.
That was the
All right.
easiest.
So we've got
That's
Paul's-
Mickey. That's Mickey talking.
All right. So so Paul's ringing in at a 10 out of 10 shoals, which is pretty high praise for you're the first guest we've ever had dip a rig. So to come out of the gate swinging with a 10 is pretty strong. And we'll look at the pedal board for a second. I like this. I think it's pretty well rounded. I love the replicator tape echo. Those are so cool. I want one really bad. You don't see them a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if he's running it in front of the boogie or if it's in the loop or something like that. Does he say in the email?
He doesn't say.
Yeah, you know what the problem? Wait a minute. The problem is there's buffers in all these devices, and every single one of these plugs is 5 to 15 picofarads. And each time you go into one and another and another and another and another, you lose more and more of the tone of the guitar and get more and more of the tone of the pedal. First thing I'd want to do is plug straight into the amp and then figure out what I needed and then only plug through those.
Yeah.
So that's a very complicated art. As somebody said once to me, the pedal board changes the tone is whether you could stand it or not.
Oh, 100%.
Very true.
Now, I don't disagree with you. I think we could pare down this board a little bit. I like the Golden Fleece, a little self-shill there. The Timmy is a go-to overdrive for myself. The 1981 is cool, but I'm wondering if with the gain stages in the amp, I would probably drop one or two of the gain stages on the board and rely on the amp and hitting it with maybe a really good boost or just that fuzz.
Yeah, but okay. But now you're going pro, and his goal is to have fun with his friends. For the goal you set, he still wins.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
is he listening to this?
I
don't
hope
know.
so. Or if he's not currently, he will be for sure.
Well, he wins. Look, go to the next. We dipped this rig. Go to another rig.
Cool.
You dipped it. We saw
No,
the dip.
no, you dipped it. I didn't see this rig ahead of time. You did.
No, well, we technically we
I
don't.
was the only one that really. I tend to pick the rigs.
Well, I
But-
think the center of the rig is the amp.
Oh, 100%.
You said the
yeah.
center of the rig is the PRS, but I think the amp's the center of the rig.
Well,
Although
the center of the guitar setup is the PRS. That's like the one that you start with, and then when you want something a little heavier, you go with the de-stratified Strat.
that's very sweet. D Strat, you did it again. Is that a de Gibsonized Epiphone? I mean,
Well,
do you understand what the story with Epiphone was?
vaguely.
They bought a string bass company, and when the truck arrived from Epi, the guitar jigs were in the truck. They didn't know. They had no idea. Ted was like blown away. Oh my God, we've got jigs to make the guitars. So what he did was make Epiphone a parallel line like Johnson and Evermood outboard motors. He didn't plan on getting the guitar thing. So when I see this, I think about the history of where this came from, and Ted, the truck pulling up to Kalamazoo, and they had no idea they bought a guitar company. And for me, there's a lot of that history in here. But when you say de-stratified the Strat, you didn't change the neck shape, you didn't change the pick guard, you didn't change the body shape, you didn't change the weight of it. You changed a couple of pickups, and then it's no longer a Strat. I don't know.
Well, but I wouldn't say it's completely no longer a Strat, but wouldn't you agree that getting rid of the middle position and then changing the bridge pickup out pretty well alters the soul of a Stratocaster? I mean,
Wait a minute. the middle
Uh-oh.
pickups out of Richie Blackmore's guitar. It didn't de-stratify that.
Yeah, it's a valid
Hendrix
point.
didn't use the treble pickup. Did that de-stratify it? I mean, he was playing the solos on the bass pickup. When we made the Hendrix amp, I got a chance to play through that rig, and I was like, I couldn't believe that it's made a bass pickup sound like a treble pickup. I was stunned. Okay, it's been de-stratified. We'll just go with your analysis because you're going to stay on that rock and not move.
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna die on this
suggesting.
one.
All right,
Welcome
okay,
to
and
Rhett.
Okay, so here's
Look,
the
you
deal.
wanted me and all of me. You got it.
Oh yeah, no.
Next
this,
rig.
This is great. This is
Go
what we're
to
here
the
for.
next rig.
Well, we only got
Well,
one
we
rig.
just
only
do
got
the
one.
one.
Yeah,
And
That's
we got
not
more-
fair.
What do you
We
mean
got
that's
more
not fair?
topics. We got all sorts of stuff. It's
Yeah, we
gonna
got
be
tons of
awesome.
stuff to talk about.
All right.
All right, I'm
Well-
gonna give this. I'm gonna give this 9.6 shoyles. I think you could clean up the pedal board a little bit. I agree with Paul's point that there's a lot happening there. I think we could get rid of some of the gain stages on the board, rely more so on the amp itself. But otherwise, I'm happy with it. I approve.
Yeah, I think I'd give it a solid 9 because the Fillmore is like Mace's. It's kind of like their black panel Fender thing, except it's 2 duplicate channels and they have multiple gain stages. So there's a ton of gain in that amp and they sound great. But yeah, I'll give it a solid 9. But let's.
All right.
Let's
I'm going to
move on.
change my rating.
Okay.
9, 6, and 9 added together and divided by 2 is 9.3. I get her a 9.3. I'm right in the middle.
Very diplomatic of you.
Nah,
Very.
But the
There we
thing
go.
you left out was his goal. It makes his goal.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
it does more
That,
than a show.
that's a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, I mean that's a rig you could take to damn near any gig, to any session, depending on what the session is, who the artist you're playing for is.
You
all
could
that
get
kind of
through the
stuff.
session.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I
And
might
then
not
some.
be as happy with without my stuff, but I'd get through the session with the guitar and the amp. I would get through it.